building an alliance.
Will you join us?
It's showtime.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We are tonight's entertainment.
You're not here, you missing out, because this show...
Ladies and gentlemen.
All right, listen up.
And now, the moment you've all been waiting for.
It's time for the Alliance Guys podcast.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Alliance Guys podcast, a presentation of Alliance-Wrestling.com, your number one source for news and information for the National Wrestling Alliance, streaming across all the cool platforms. We are now live right now, right wherever you're watching us. This is live. And I'm not alone, guys. This is the Alliance Guys podcast, not the Alliance Guy podcast. So introducing, in no particular order, first, all the way from the Dallas-Fort Worth area, Mr. DKM. Welcome to the show, Devin. How are you?
Woot, 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 woot.
And then, from the great state of Connecticut, all the way up in the Northeast, home of good pizza and record stores galore, we got our pal, the Professor, Rick Del Santo. What's going on, Rick?
The pizza capital of the world is my hometown, New Haven, Connecticut. So I keep bothering you to come out here and enjoy some good old-fashioned
Trust me, it's been discussed quite frequently in the household. And, of course, our good friend who helps the famous Dr. Lawrence Draconium produce, book, create, enjoy Dangerous Adrenaline Wrestling Gladiators. And he's going to tell you that New Jersey pizza is better than Connecticut pizza.
Definitely not.
Jaden.
First of all, I'm not delusional enough to think that Connecticut pizza is anywhere near that the quality of New Jersey pizza. New Jersey's been voted the best pizza in the country. Multiple times we beat New York, we beat Philadelphia. We've also been voted the best cheesesteak, the best bagel, and the best soft pretzel.
I'll give you all those except for the pizza. I'm sorry. Let me tell you, sir, a quick story. Sorry, Jay. I know we're getting into a show here, but went down to North Carolina. I went down to North Carolina last week for my niece getting married. Okay.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, exactly. So we decided to get a pizza the day that we get in.
I'm sorry.
It was the worst. Don't ever eat a pizza from down that area. So I was literally, it was not good. I'm sorry. I could not wait to get back home and have some good thin crust pizza. I tell you that.
First of all, if you're comparing any pizza to North Carolina pizza, except for maybe Buffalo and some parts of Pennsylvania, like the Scranton area, then yes, then you probably would think Connecticut pizza is the best pizza in the world. That's like saying getting punched in the face is better than getting kicked in the nuts. But when you actually want quality, you want the king of pizza, you got to come to New Jersey.
I'm willing to take you up on this. I'm really.
Well, I have a confession to make.
What's that, DK?
I really love pizza, and so I would probably love Connecticut pizza. I probably love New Jersey pizza. I love thin crust. I love thick crust. I love Neapolitan. I love deep dish. I can even eat Detroit pizza. I mean, So I can't help you guys any on which is better, because if it's pizza, it's for me.
Then why don't you come to New Jersey and connect the dot and find out, DK?
I just want to point out that I'm sure both Connecticut and New Jersey, I've had pizza from New Jersey and it was quite delicious. I will say this. There is one place that I've had the worst pizza, and that was in Florida, Orlando.
I believe it.
I will never eat pizza or Italian food in Orlando again. Not now, not ever.
My daughter lives down there. I'm going to have to ask her what it's like down there.
You know what else Florida has the worst of?
People?
Yeah, besides people. Biscuits and gravy.
Really?
Biscuits and gravy.
Oh, I went to Florida for some software conference, and they had us in this nice hotel, and it was one of those things that, they had stations in this big restaurant type thing. And so I'm going and thought, I've had eggs a couple days in a row. Let me see what else they got, And it's like, oh, they have a biscuits and gravy thing. How do you mess that up? Well, I found out Florida can do it and really mess it up pretty bad.
The only thing, ironically, I've had good in Florida was alligator, and I ate some Cuban. She was good.
Oh my God. Okay, simmer down because we are on different platforms that can get us removed. I will say this: when it comes to biscuits and gravy, I'm not a huge biscuits and gravy fan, but
you're a Californian.
But when I was in Atlanta, good friend took me to. This was during the first Power tapings. Good friend took me to this place where they had like a biscuit and gravy, like I don't even know what to call it. It was kind of more like a stew almost. And it was the most amazing thing I ever ate. And I would gladly go back to Atlanta just to have that again.
Well, anywhere in the South, if you get biscuits and gravy, the true South, deep South, you're probably gonna run across some good stuff.
There was a place in California that I don't like biscuits generally. So I asked, but the gravy was spectacular. So I'd get the biscuits and gravy, hold the biscuits, and throw it on toast. It's phenomenal.
I had some good fried chicken while I was down there.
Down where?
Down in North Carolina last weekend. So
that good what?
Good fried chicken while I was down there. I'll tell you that much. If y'all are ever down there, there's this fast food restaurant called Cookout down there. It's kind of like a barbecue type place. It's got like all sorts of barbecue. It's a big chain. It sells kind of southern barbecue type stuff. That place is phenomenal. I've been every time I go down to that area, or Virginia or wherever. I always make it a point. Waffle House. We did eat at Waffle House, Willie, and
you're alive.
Yeah,
not from the food, from the service.
I had the steak and eggs, and the steaks. I gotta tell you, I will tell you, this was my worst Waffle House experience, food wise. As I got the steak and eggs, and the steaks was literally atrocious. So I've had better Waffle House when I was in Pennsylvania, believe it or not. So
PA and Maryland have some really good Waffle Houses. I think there was one in Delaware. We also had a cookout here.
Yeah,
it just didn't last in Jersey for some reason.
Well, it's probably a niche type place, but I got to tell you, that is like one of my favorite places to go when I'm down in the southern portion of the country.
My culinary degree wants me to do biscuits and gravy. I want to do cheddar baked biscuits with chorizo sausage. I think that sounds really good. I'm gonna try that someday.
That sounds awesome, dude.
That does sound awesome. All right, one last food thing for me, and then I'll shut up about food. Simultaneously, the last time I was in Atlanta, I went to Center Stage to watch the United Wrestling Network at the short-lived Championship Wrestling from Atlanta. And post-show, this was like in 2021, I was starving. I literally flew in, got to my car rental, drove to my hotel, which was the worst hotel I've ever been in the United States. The only hotel that I've ever stayed in that was worse was the one in Mexico City. Then I drove to the wrestling show. So I hadn't eaten anything. And the wrestling show went like 4 hours because they were taping like, a month's worth of TV that night. So then I'm starving, right? And I'm like, all right, I'll go to a Waffle House. So I go to the Waffle House and the cook's just sitting outside and one of the waitresses there talking. And I'm like, and I get out of my car. I'm like, maybe they're on break or whatever. I go to walk towards the door and the cook's like, we closed. I'm like, we closed? And he goes, we closed. And he like just looked at me like, say less, I'm leaving. And everything was closed. And because it was during it was still like the residual COVID stuff, like everything was either closed or the lines were insane. So like at 1 o'clock in the morning, I drove to where I was 12. I drove to McDonald's and literally sat in the line for an hour to get a double cheeseburger because that was the only thing that was open. And I almost was like, I should have just not eaten. Because it was awful.
Terrible. Yeah.
It was the worst, guys.
And McDonald's is not very good to begin with either. So as far as quality food, but that's like emergency food because it's everywhere. You know what I mean? It's like I'll get that on the highway or when I'm traveling and there's nothing else around. It's like literally there will be a McDonald's within a couple mile radius of wherever the hell you are.
And I mean, I was looking for anything like, is there Arby's? Is there a Subway? Is there Checkers? Is there a Rally's? Is there a Taco Bell? Anything. And then I guess because of COVID, at that time, a lot of people were choosing to stay home and not work. So they could not even have a full staff. That's why it took an hour. So like I paid for my meal and still waited 45 minutes before I got 2 rinky-ass cheeseburgers. And then I ate it because that's all that I could eat. And I was... Anyways.
There are levels of McDonald's that are better than others. And B, the tastiness and the deliciousness of McDonald's is also directly proportional to how much you were drinking.
Yep.
Got a point there.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's true.
And I love Checkers, and probably Rally's too. I've never been there, but I'm assuming it's the same. It definitely doesn't love me back. It's a one-way relationship.
For sure. Real quick, Willie Bowen says, "Hey, you guys, look out! Tyrus is on the prowl. Remember, he loves seafood. When he goes, he sees food, he binges." I butchered it. Sorry, Willie. That's on me. But the other one was, if Johnny Depp did another Pirates of the Caribbean movie, Tyrus can play the part of the pirate ship, or his face could be the insignia of the flag.
Willie, I think you're scraping the barrel on your jokes recently.
Oh, no, I like the pirate ship.
He could play the pirate ship.
Could play the island.
Good point.
And that was Greenland.
Actually, nobody wants to hear this, but Tyrus is like down to under 300 pounds.
No, we don't want to hear it. We don't want to say anything nice about that guy.
Is he down under 300 pounds, or has he lost 300 pounds, which still means he's 3.5 tons?
No, he's... I saw him on something the other day, and they had mentioned it.
Yeah, I saw a picture of him recently. He popped up on social media, Facebook or something, probably X or whatever, and I don't know.
Maybe he went to Japan. They're still big on whaling.
I saw him on a clip in YouTube, so it was probably a Fox thing since that's where he's typically at. But they asked him about his weight loss, and he said, that he was down to 295, that he hadn't been under 300 pounds and whatever.
I can't think of a world where I'm only 60 pounds lighter than Tyrus. That's insane. All right, well, now the whole world's gone topsy-turvy. So, hey, this is an NWA podcast. We talk about the National Wrestling Alliance. We like to have fun. We like to talk about food. We all can eat on this show. But this week's Power, what Willie said Tyrus was a 200-pound baby. I could just imagine him coming out with the hat backwards and the gold chain, and like the doctor can't lift him because he's 200 pounds.
Somebody help my mama. Somebody help my mama.
She must have been a very strong woman.
She must have been the Grand Canyon.
Oh my God!
Wow.
Again, take it easy. We're on the sensitive area. After dark. Anyway.
Well, I get worse if after dark.
No, I know. I've seen you after dark. So let's talk a little bit about this week's Power. It's like the Bandit. If you peel it off, it gets over faster.
Yeah, let's get this done and over with.
All right, so I have clips. This week's Power featured 3 matches, 2 Crockett Cup tournament matches, and then, of course, the main event, which was a women's no rules match. By and large, I was pretty good with this week's Power. The same complaints I had last week were similar to this week's Power. I feel like they need to pull back the sketches a little bit, the skits, I guess. I feel like they are, at least these skits feel like they're building towards a storyline on television, where the previous skits from the last few episodes were kind of like on a rudderless ship. At least I feel like these ones are leading up to something. Before we get into it, just the basic, what did you think of this week's Power? We'll start off with you, DCam. What did you think of this week's Power?
I thought it was okay, which I thought I wasn't on last week, but I thought the previous week's Power was also okay. So I'm wondering if we're on some kind of record streak of 2 okay shows in a row.
I'd say it might go 4 or 5, honestly.
Yeah. Because of, I think, the power of the Crockett Cup and the card itself, I feel like the in-ring action, I think, is going to be pretty solid. And as long as they continue to build the way that they have been, I think the shows are going to be pretty good. Rick, what were your thoughts on it?
I thought for the most part it was all right. I'd like to back up from the skits a little bit more. Now, I know last week I kind of gave it pretty much a raving review for the most part, with the skits being less painful to sit through. However, these kind of put a little bit more of the pain back in these particular. But the actual wrestling part of the program, for the most part, I'd have to give it 2 thumbs up.
So that leaves us with you, Jaden. You were there with me live. We sat in the front row. And the show itself, I think we both had a pretty glowing review of the actual taping. But what did you think when they put it all together? What did you think of this week's Power?
I'll give you a quick synopsis. I still think it was the wrong Power to do. I didn't think it was as good as last week, even though I think one of the tag matches I enjoyed tremendously. It was even better watching it than it was live. I fast-forwarded through the skits because I knew I wasn't going to like them, and because, honestly, I don't really care that much about the NWA to invest into it. And I'll give you a review each individual matches later. But it was good. Again, I didn't think it was as good as last week, though. It still was the wrong episode to do.
I agree with you, and I think I know why you're saying that, but we'll get to that in a minute. The show kicked off with the matchup between, the show kicked off with a very long skit of Joe Kazana holding office and with some of the members of the NWA territories, mostly the Henry family. What's his name? Chris Henry, and his daughter Kenzie, who is now the promoter of that area, and her boyfriend Hunter, along with, for some reason, Silas Mason, the Thrillbilly, and the NWA national champion Mims. And that would just seem kind of off. And Kazana was going through a list of rules changes, and one of them came out specifically with regards to chewing tobacco. And it just set Silas Mason off, which was perfect Silas Mason. And I get, like, the skit itself might have been a little lame, but of course Silas makes the best out of a bad situation. He puts the lemonade with lemons. He makes the shiitake mushrooms out of shit, and it was a pretty good show. For me, it was a pretty good segment. It dragged on a little bit, but what I liked about it is it kind of felt like it's building to something. I feel like there's going to be a Crossfire JCP feud building up in the ranks. I already know that I'm probably in the minority in this, but Rick, what did you think of this segment?
It was just, like I said, they were last week they were kind of tolerable. This week, compared to last week, they're a little bit less tolerable, I should say. Like you said, it went a little bit long, and I think if it wasn't for Thrillbilly, I probably wouldn't have been even remotely invested in the skit at all. And I just, if it's setting up a feud between JCP and Crossfire, that's great. Maybe if they do if they bring back the territory show back on as part of their regular Power show, it'll be kind of enjoyable to see something like that. And unless they're working on deals for other NWA territory television or anything like that they'll or stuff that they'll be able to include maybe as part of like the Roku deal or whatever.
Yeah. Jaden, what did you think? Did you even pay attention to the segment, or did you leave the room?
I fast forwarded through it, and it's very hard to fast forward, by the way, on the Roku on the phone. So just heads up.
Just gotta put your finger down, right, and zip.
Yeah, you go too fast, and you just like, the slightest little move, and next thing you know, you're way past where you want to be. So you go back, and then you're right back in the middle where you didn't want to be. Yeah. Even when you expand it out, it's still like it is not very intuitive with using your finger on the And there's not like a 30-second skip that it seemed like I could use on that I could figure it out.
They don't have anything like that. Like skip it by 10 or 15 seconds on the app. I don't know. I've never watched anything on the Roku app. I have it because I lose my Roku remote all the time. So
that's exactly why I have it too, by the way. Exactly why I have it too. Somebody says there's a talking one that you can call it and it'll make a sound. And boy, I need that one. And I know you could do it with your phone too, but that does the same problem with the phone as it does with the app. So I just use the app. Because it's less of a delay. But yeah, it's just I didn't watch it. So honestly, if it was good with Thrillbilly, then imagine how good a real good Thrillbilly promo would have been, or a sit down interview, or something that actually could actually make money. I like the fact that they're finally somewhat acknowledging the territories in the NWA. I mean, that's kind of a good thing, I guess. But if it's not going to make them money, then it's just wasting TV time. If they're not going to put the territories on some kind of Roku package or make them more inclusive into the NWA itself, then in reality, it's just a bunch of circle jerking that people are just trying to get themselves, their little TV time and make themselves feel important when the NWA itself doesn't do a good job of that. And that's something the NWA does a good job at not doing a good job of getting things over.
They do a great job of not getting things over. DK, you've been quiet. What were your thoughts on this one?
Oh, I'm sorry. I went and took a piss during that.
During the segment or during our chat about it?
I should have during the chat, but no, it was during the segment. Look, we know how I feel about the skits. Don't need to, beat that dead horse.
And let's just say there was a new viewer just happened to go on, and they happen to see that. How is that going to draw their attention to make them interested in the product? It's a waste of television time. Television time, every second of television should be important and should have the only goal is to make money for the company and get the company over and make money for the wrestlers and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Not just to feed somebody's ego or if they do something because the boss thinks it's funny.
I will say this based on something that Rick said, that, setting up like maybe a Crossfire
JCP
rivalry, feud, whatever. I'm not a big fan of that among territories that are supposed to be together as part of a thing.
Yeah.
I mean, I've seen it play out. I remember Texas versus Tennessee in
USWA World Class, like that thing.
Well, when Jarrett was first come in, they did this thing where all the Tennessee guys were heels in Texas, and all the Texas guys were heels in Tennessee. Right. And like when they were showing clips from the other side show, they couldn't let the commentary do it, and they'd have to edit camera angles and everything so that you couldn't see that your side was the one that brought out the chain first. And things like that. But National Wrestling Alliance, I hated it when they did NWA America back, years and years ago. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, don't look it up. It's not worth it. It's a personal thing. I mean, if it's something Rick likes and Rick enjoys, I don't have an issue with that. Right. Unlike, people who watch AEW and like that, I have an issue with that. But if this is your thing, I don't have a big issue with it. It's not my thing.
That's because it's the National Wrestling Alliance, not the National Wrestling Civil War.
Exactly.
That's an excellent point. Excellent point too. Like, why do we have to have a rivalry between ownership and territories? If anything, they should be working together to help grow the brand as opposed to battling each other. So that's actually a really good call out, DK. And I think, what, now that you say that and you point that out, like, yeah, you know what? Why are we doing this? Who cares who the best territory is? The best territory should be Power, right? And then everything else should be building up to that.
Now, behind the scenes, they were having a rivalry and they were trying to outdo each other to put a better product out, to be the better territory. I could support that. That's called competition. But in front of the camera, it's just a bunch of people trying to get themselves over to be like that, like they're a big deal. And when reality, Billy Corgan doesn't really even give a crap about them.
No, they're just guys. They're just areas where he could go in, have a TV taping, and then he uses their talent or whatever. You know what I mean? Or he brings a lot of the talent. They get him the buildings in that area basically, so he can tour.
And they haven't even really done that, which is like that's the other part of that, which is very disappointing. I mean, like, so the whole territory system, you've got Billy who actually owns a territory, Chicago, but Power and the Power brand hasn't been to Chicago in like 2 years, and they haven't brought Power. Like the Power did a show with JCP, but they haven't done anything with St. Louis. They haven't done anything with New Mexico. They haven't done. The only stuff they do in Texas is the venue and Forney, but they're not really doing anything with NWA Texas, and they're not really doing anything with Crossfire. So the point that you're making, Rick, you're right, but like they're not even taking advantage of that. They totally should be doing that.
Has the Chicago brand done anything recently? I mean, when's the last time
they're still doing, I think, like every other month shows. I think they're still.
I don't know that it's that often.
Okay.
Have they even done two? Have they even done two this year?
Yes.
That's a good question.
Maybe they do them quarterly then. I know they produce ugly belts.
I know they did
100%.
one. Yeah, that's true. That was, I guess they have done two because they crowned the Chicago champion.
So the last show for Chicago was in June 27th. And then before that, they did the Fred Kohler Invitational, which was back in May. And then before that, they did the Road to Gold back in March. And before that, that's it this year. So they did 3 shows so far this year. And
I don't even remember the May one.
Yeah, I do, because Fred Kohler wasn't exactly somebody the NWA should have been celebrating 100%, but that's the only reason I remembered it. And I didn't remember until Jay said it.
They also have their next event scheduled for August 22nd, which will feature the Polish Power Mario Pardua, who's your Chicago heavyweight champion, the Crush Natalia Markova, Carson Bartholomew Drake, Brian Idol, Daisy Kills, Steve Boz, Marche Rocket, and Charlie Kleinman.
I like Steve Boz, but I'll just state that one real quick. And I'm beginning to think Carson Bartholomew Drake just travels with Brian Idol wherever they go. They're just kind of getting a car together in that Markova, and they kind of just randomly show up the territories.
Well, Drake is an Exodus Pro guy. Drake is 100% a protege of EC3, and I think that's why he gets the push that he gets.
They wish somebody push him into a wood chipper.
Ouch.
But Jaden's right. He's kind of been everywhere, unlike I mean, he's been more with Brian Idol since he's been in the NWA than he has
with EC3, yeah.
EC3 may have started him, but I don't know if he's only. When was the last time EC3 had a show?
He's got one. Actually, they got one this weekend. I'm sorry to cut you off, Jay. My buddy Jermaine Marbury is going to be working that this weekend. So he posted that he's working that. I think it's either he's working Wrestling Open tomorrow night, Thursday, in Worcester, Mass, and then getting on a plane going right to Ohio. So I know they got a show out there.
Okay.
Yeah. And then before that, I'm just looking real quick. The last Exodus Pro show was May 23rd.
Are they streaming the upcoming one? Does anyone know?
I haven't heard that announcement being made yet.
Okay.
Yeah, I haven't heard for sure.
I mean, it's just a curiosity thing.
Yeah. Well, then, so I have clips of this match. And I'm so excited to use it because the first match we get of the night is the tag team of Talos and Daisy Kill versus what I don't even know if I got this name right. The Nightmare Factory. Is that what they're calling Zyon and Frank?
I thought that was the name of the Rhodes Wrestling Academy, or with QT Marshall.
Yeah, I don't know exactly what this team's name is, and maybe I'll look it up real quick.
Are they still using the Lost, or are you talking about the faction? Or...
No, so Austin Idol has a faction too. He has
Got you. You're right. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. And I don't know the name of the tag team. Like, they gave him a special name, and it was like Nightmare or something.
Well, while you show a clip, we can try to find out. So,
the Nightmare Syndicate?
That might be it. Okay, so here we go. Here's the first clip. That dude who walked into the scene ruined about 75% of the video and photos I tried to take during this event. I was like, move! Should have
hit him with a lead pipe.
Like, I think Jaden knew how pissed off I was getting. I was like, come on, man. I literally felt like he was walking into my shots at some points. When you start filming things, you don't know how good or bad they're going to be and how dull or slow they could be. But those
were the highlights of the match.
No, there was a lot better. The match itself was pretty good, but those two clips, I have to be honest, they weren't.
Were you drinking when you were watching it? That match was horrible. That was not a good match.
Okay.
I wouldn't say it was horrible, but it was not a good match.
That's okay. I think I said the match was fine. Did I say it was good? Because I will retract that. The match was fine.
Even fine's a little bit of an exaggeration. It was there.
Okay. It wasn't the worst wrestling match I've ever seen, but those clips might lead you to believe that it was a lot more boring than it was. It was a little bit more exciting than that. Is that fair? Can we agree to that?
So was paint drying.
It's Nightmare Sin, I think, is the name of the...
Nightmare Sin?
Yeah. That's what I have in my notes here. I did take notes when I was watching. So, Nightmare, SYN, yes. So, and that's Zyon and Frank, managed by Austin Idol, yes. So, I just had to go find my notes, that's all.
Well, so, Jaden, since you were there live, give us your take on this one.
It was bad live, and it was just as bad, in my opinion, on Memorex. Frank is slightly adequate. The wrestler who wrestles as Zyon wrestles better when he's not in Zyon. Talos was not entertaining at all. The Crockett Cup, he was the low light of the entire Crockett Cup, and Daisy Kill was fine, but he was being held down by, I think, the people he had to wrestle against and with. DK, and that's why I wish I had the cookie right now.
the cookie that Foxy
Steiner, yeah, his girlfriend, wife, fiance, the Crockett Cup cookie, yeah.
That was a delicious cookie. I think that's when you went to go get the cookie during that match.
No, I think I went to go get it during the Mexican Pellet match.
Yeah. All right. Well, DK, tell us.
Smart move.
Yeah. DK, you saw the match. You watched it on Power. What were your thoughts on it?
Well, this is going to be a rare time where I disagree a little bit with Jaden. For a match where I cared nothing about any of the tag teams, and I only care about one of the 4 wrestlers involved. Maybe it was that low expectation thing, or having no expectations. I actually thought it was kind of a fun little match. It was interesting, It was interesting seeing that Zyon, which again, his alter ego, is known as a big guy, and he was in there and kind of, about the same size as, Daisy Kill, and overall, Daisy's in much better shape than he is. You could see how big Frank was next to Daisy Kills. You could see how big Talos was next to Frank. Now, I have no expectation from Talos at all, other than he'll probably stink up the place. But I thought him and Frank had a couple of good exchanges. And so, yeah, I mean, I was like, yeah, this was okay. I mean, I'm not in love with it. I wouldn't want to watch it every week or anything like that, but it was okay.
Somebody find out what happened to DK. He's been replaced.
That's high praise from Caesar.
Yeah.
Rick Del Santo, Professor, enlighten us. What was your take on this one?
First off, I want to say I'm surprised that DK said so many nice things about an NWA match since I've joined the show. But it was okay. I'm not the world's biggest Daisy Kill or Talos fan. I think Talos is just a big guy. Daisy Kill is probably the more marketable one out of the two. Zyon really hasn't grabbed me since he came into this character. And Frank, I like. I've watched him quite a bit over the years in different incarnations through various different wrestling companies. This was an okay match. It kept with the rhythm that this was a very good show, and this seems to had pulled back a little bit of the energy, I guess, from last week's show that I thought was pretty much on fire. A great debut for the company, or for Roku on this platform. This was just kind of a pullback a little bit. It was okay. It wasn't the greatest thing on earth, but I wouldn't say that I want to, like DK, I don't want to see this each and every week because I probably wouldn't be tuning in, get very enthusiastic about watching the NWA if this is what I had to watch each and every week. And that's not to say it was terrible. Like I said, I wouldn't, it just was okay.
On the Discord right now, they're talking about Tom Latimer and how he's great or really good in the ring. And they said it's comparative to EC3 and definitely comparative to Tyrus. I think you guys watched that horrible segment and you were just so happy to get out of it that it actually influenced your opinion in that match and you like it better because it wasn't that segment.
You might have a point there. Jeez.
Yeah, I mean, look, none of this happens in a vacuum, so you kind of have to look at it as a whole. And, bouncing off of from the segment to this match might have been, maybe that was the best place to put that segment. So
I think the best place to put it was the garbage, but go ahead. I didn't even watch it.
Cutting room floor, yes.
I mean, you guys are making excellent points here, but
directly into the sun.
Jettison, right?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I thought the match itself was, like DK said, it was all right. I unlike Rick, I actually do like Daisy Kill. I think he has a ton of potential. I do feel like right now he's kind of saddled by Talos. We know Talos is currently working with All Japan Pro Wrestling. If and when he comes back, maybe we get a bigger, better Talos. We know that he's also during this match, and then spoiler alert, their next match, there seems to be some dissension between the ranks of Daisy Kill and Talos. And I wouldn't be surprised if there's a permanent divorce between those two talents down the road. I feel like it was kind of weird that you put together this tag team, the Nightmare Syndicate or Nightmare Sin, whatever, and you've got Austin Idol out there, and this is a fairly new team, and they still did the JOB to Talos and Daisy, who, yes, they're former U.S. Tag Champions, but they really haven't done much lately, and I feel like this would have been a good time that you could have pushed Zyon and Frank a little bit better and perhaps maybe had a better results had they gone over. So again, I don't think it was the best match on the card, but I thought it was serviceable.
Quick aside: has Austin Idol become meaningless?
Yes.
Yeah,
probably since about. Okay, Rick, I'm sorry.
Great. I mean, DK, I'm sorry, Jaden. We spoke at the same time, but DK, I think you're right. Like, for someone of his stature and his legendary status, like, he's literally down the bottom of the card and just, like, they use him so seldomly and they're not doing anything important with him. If you remember when he first came in, he was all over the TV cutting promos, and he was doing lots of great stuff. They even put him on commentary for a little while, and now they're just not. They're not doing much with him besides coming out with these two every so often and them getting their butts whipped or whatever. It's just I don't understand it, considering who Austin Idol is to the world of professional wrestling.
I think he is the modern Paul Jones of the NWA.
Is this supposed to be an insult, or is that, I need because I like Paul Jones and I know some people
as a manager.
Yes.
Okay, I'm worried about you now, Rick, because the only reason Paul Jones was there in the NWA is because A, he had the legendary statue in Mid-Atlantic, and B, because he was the locker room snitch for the Office.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Paul Jones was not considered to be your top manager.
I mean, it was the time period that I grew up and that I enjoyed watching. I go back and watch a lot of that stuff, and I mean, there was many more greats that were there around that time period, and Paul Jones is out of the list, probably kind of lower tier, but I still liked him and enjoyed him. I liked him a lot, actually.
See, I also grew up in an era, and I really didn't get into Baron von Raschke and T-Joe Khan and the Paul Jones army of that era, because I understood it was because Jimmy Valiant was so over, and they basically gave Jimmy Valiant his own little thing to keep him away from the main stuff. But except for Rude and Hernandez and maybe the Powers of Pain, there's nothing really he ever did that was any kind of significance, in my opinion, from the Jim Crockett era, starting from about 1983 till the WCW bottom.
Well, they have the World Tag Team Champions.
Yeah, doesn't mean so what? That doesn't mean nothing. That's like I said, you take away Rude and Hernandez and you take away the Powers of Pain, what exactly did he bring to the table?
Great at talking, I thought. I mean, I thought he was a great promo in those,
Again, maybe it's I have to go back and watch, but I don't ever remember a great Paul Jones promo. All I remember was his Hitler mustache.
Jones was better at getting himself over than his talent, but I thought he could speak okay.
Yeah.
I guess I'm falling in between Rick and Jaden. And
I was going to say Rick and Morty.
Well, I probably came close to that. But,
we don't have to agree on our vision of what our preferences to. We don't have to agree. That's fine, but I enjoy it. So.
As I always say, everybody else has the right to be wrong.
Yes. See, I like the Thundercats growing up, but I watch it nowadays, and while I still have my nostalgia, it's very hard to watch.
It's not nearly as good as it was when we were kids in 1985, but
yeah, and I think that's right now the thing you're thinking.
Oh, sure.
First episode.
I remember when my sons first saw Gilligan's Island, and they thought Gilligan was the greatest thing ever. And then about 6 months later, they're like, "Well."
I'll say this about Austin Idol. He went in 2023. He was managing pretty much all of the champions. At the end of Hard Times, 2023, he was managing Tyrus, the world champion, the original Zyon, who was the, I believe, national champion, and Jordan Clearwater, who was the TV champion. So, I mean, at one point, his group was the gold standard of the NWA. That didn't last. And it feels like right now, like you're right. He's diminished in value. He's not a big deal. They don't treat him like a Hall of Famer. He doesn't carry himself like a Hall of Famer. And it just, at this point, I don't know why he's even still on TV. Like, I don't feel like he's bringing any added value to the brand, to the show, to the teams that he's managing. And in this episode, he did more. He had the whistle. He's trying to get more involved, but it's still it feels like this is a waste of money.
Yeah. Does he have any hand in the booking or bringing in talent or anything like that, helping train? Because he still owns his, the Universal Heartthrob School. So that's why I was like, is that why they're keeping him on, or is there some value to why they keep him on?
I think Billy likes him.
Maybe he's still Billy's airplane, and he's just hoping to get it back.
Maybe. Well, I mean, Billy originally brought him in to be the manager of Nick Aldis.
Yep.
Right.
And then he wanted more money than what they were paying Nick Aldis. And so that ended quickly. And then they brought him back, and he was very overexposed at one point. And my gosh, him and Velvet.
The worst commentary team on the planet and the history of professional wrestling, I think. I like them both, but individually. Together, they were probably, it was like really grating to the ears,
Those two together are almost as bad as Billy by himself. I mean, it's real close. It's probably a couple of hairs difference. But
can I tell you guys a story?
Absolutely.
Sure.
It's your show.
Yeah. So years and years and years ago, when the United Wrestling Network back then was NWA Hollywood, before they actually started doing TV, I guess they were still NWA Pro Wrestling. Dave Marquez made a commitment to bring in Percy Pringle III to manage the natural selection, which was Brian Cage and Sean Ricker, now known as LA Knight. And at the time, Sean Ricker was already one of the better promo guys in that promotion. Brian Cage was okay, but together they were fine. And I didn't think that they needed a manager. And I've been friends with Dave Marquez for a very long time. And I said, Dave, why are you spending money to fly this guy in from Texas all the way to California just to sit in the corner for a few minutes? I mean, what is the benefit to bringing him in? I don't see it. And Dave says, Jay, just watch. Just watch. And so the first time I saw him in one of Dave's rings, it was in Anaheim, California. The promotion was called Mach 1. It was an NWA Pro affiliate. And there he was. And of course, the autograph signings, lots of people were there to get photos and autographs from, POWERRR. That was huge. But when he actually came out with Brian Cage and Sean Ricker, the man captivated you. He started looking at what he was doing. And sometimes it was what he was doing and what he was not doing. Distracting the referee, jaw-jocking with the fans. Like, I felt like he was really doing a hell of a job of getting his team over. And in that moment, I was like, I get it now. I totally get it, Dave. And I even apologized to Dave. I said, hey, man, I was wrong. I get why you bring him in now. I don't feel that at all with Brian Idol, and I haven't felt that way with Brian Idol.
Austin Idol.
Ever. Austin Idol.
Excuse me.
Hold on.
Same.
Don't confuse
Both.
the two, please.
Both. I never felt that way with either Idol, Brian or Austin.
What about American
Idol? No, I'm not a big fan. Although Anthony Idol, the Neon Phenomenon in Arizona, I like that guy. I'll say nice things about him. But getting back to Austin Idol was not I never saw that. I never saw the benefit. Now Billy, Billy's the one signing the check, so obviously he sees value in him. But I couldn't figure that out.
Billy sees value in Gags the game.
Yes, and he was on TV this week again, and I was very upset. Sorry, spoiler.
About the horns.
Yeah, forget it.
What did you say, DK?
Without the horns.
Yeah.
Yes. He had a different mask on this time, so. Yeah.
Not a better one, but a different one.
Probably bought on South Street.
Nothing about it's going to get better. So, that gimmick.
I'm just glad he's not horny anymore.
Oof.
I think that's the same joke Danny Deals made or something.
Yeah. Anyway,
Right,
he probably bought the mask on South Street, one of those stripper stores.
Anyways, getting back to the show, and then we had another segment in the back. This time it was little baby Kylie Alexa Paige, the younger sister of the NWA Women's World Champion, who was doing a photo shoot or something of that nature. Her session was up. She walked away. Markova's session was next. And then Kylie took exception to Markova being there, got in her business, and then proceeded to slap her before running off. And Markova said, oddly, that she enjoyed that. So just another way to build up the match that they were having later on the night. Did you have a problem with this segment, Rick?
It just didn't. It did nothing for me. It really didn't. It was just one of those segments that was there again. And once I saw the segment, I just kind of tuned out, But the segments really aren't doing much for me, but as far as like keeping me interested, and I think that we spoke about it a couple times in the past. They should be doing some sort of interviews rather than segments. You know what I mean? To set up angles, like stuff like that, and there will be backstage, ringside, anything like that. But the segments just, I kind of just they don't keep me interested by any stretch.
I didn't watch the segment, but based on your description, it reminds me when Jim Cornette was talking about how Lagana and Billy Corgan were talking about they hired this new interviewer with really huge breasts, and it was Mae Valentine, and how pervy they were about it. That's why I kind of figure based on what you were telling me, that's probably what Billy Corgan's in the back thinking.
That's what that's the other thing is like these segments were kind of pervy, I guess you could say. Well, what happened to Mae Valentine? She disappeared. I have no clue.
So they brought her back for like 1 or 2 shows and then pulled her off again. And she announced on X that she was done with the company, and it didn't sound like a negative thing. Just like I fulfilled my obligations. I'm no longer working for the NWA, and it was just kind of that was that. Okay. So
rumor is she was ready to move on.
So I don't know if I ever told you guys this, but I went to a Smashing Pumpkins concert. It was actually a Green Day concert, but Smashing Pumpkins was the opening act. And she was there. And I was telling my buddy, I'm like, oh, that broad over there, she's the announcer she's a interviewer for the NWA. And, Mae Valentine's a very pretty lady. And my buddy's like, you know her? I go, I know of her. We don't know each other. He's like, and of course, your boy Jay had a few beers in him already. He's like, you should go talk to her. And I'm like, absolutely, I should. Why shouldn't I? So then I go talk to her, and it's like, hey, May. And I point to her. She goes, hi, like, you weirdo. And I go, big fan of your work in the National Wrestling Alliance. And she goes, oh, okay. And then all of a sudden it was cool. Like, we were buddies. And she goes, oh, so are you a big fan of Billy Corgan? And I go, not really. And she goes, do you ever tell him that? I go, well, I mean, like, I don't have a direct line to him, but I podcast about it all the time. And she just thought it was hilarious that I was shit talking her friend. And I go, look, he's a great guitarist, and I love him. I love the sound that he's doing up on stage. He was great, but when it comes to wrestling, yeesh. And she was very kind. She posed, took a picture with me, and that was it. And I go, well, I hope to see you back soon. And she goes, yeah. And then she did come back for a little bit and then left. But she's very sweet. She's very nice. She was very, made herself available to the fans who knew who she was. But it was just nothing bad to say about her. I on to bigger and better, I guess.
I think she was ready to move on, and the NWA was ready to try all these damn skits that went over like a lead balloon.
Well, I wouldn't even mind if they had Kyle interviewing people again. I don't necessarily need May, but
I think Kyle would do a great job. You know what I mean? I kind of miss when Marquez was there doing it in the studio, because I felt like he really added something to the show. And I think that Kyle might be that guy that can add something to the show, interviewing guys like at the podium or whatever. I mean, I think he was doing that for a little bit, right? And then it just started. Yeah.
She was backstage and Kyle was podium.
Right.
But then they would do stupid things like get Kyle involved in a feud with the Southern Sevens.
Right.
And it's just like, well, no wonder they probably heard somewhere where people hated their interviews. Well, yeah, if you're doing shit like that.
Yeah.
Or a May and getting married to Aaron Stevens, and he filled out the wrong form, and she's mad and everything. But in the early days, part of what I think got May over was the fact that she would say things, and it's one of those, I don't know if it was intentional or just the way things went, but she would say things like the fans were actually thinking.
Yep.
And she would ask the wrestlers like, well, why do you do X? That seems stupid.
So this takes us to the next match of the night, and I actually really enjoyed this match. I wasn't sure what to think of the pairing of Mondo and Slade. We saw them work together at Hard Times. They looked great, looked phenomenal. Mondo freaking jacked to the gills. They kind of gave me a Steiner's impression. I have a little clip, and if you guys don't mind, I'd like to play it for you. Again, that same freaking guy got right in my shot. And he looked at me. There was one point where he came over my shoulder and was filming my camera to film what he was filming. And I'm like, you know I'm doing that. You could just step 3 inches to the left and you would be out of my view. But no. Anyway, I really like this match. The Country Gentleman, I'm not 100% sold on Casey Kazana, and I know he's still, he's not green anymore. Well, maybe he's still green. He's not wet behind the ears anymore. But AJ certainly, to me, is the powerhouse behind that trio. Even Papa Joe Kazana out there getting those Colonel Sander chants. But the dynamic between Mondo and Slade, we know that they haven't teamed a lot, and they just looked really good together. Something that Danny Deal said on commentary that made me laugh is that Mike Mondo's so big that he could use a headlock as a finishing move, because you look at him and he's just so swole. But I thought this match was really good. I didn't really care for the whole Tyler Frank thing on the outside with the Cheetos. While Jaden and I were sitting there, I didn't really even recognize that was Tyler Frank. And so, I really legitimately thought someone hopped the rail at first, and I was like, oh, shit, it's about to go down. And it turned out just to be the low blow to kind of punctuate the storyline. But I did enjoy the match, and the Country Gentlemen seemed to keep falling further and further from that, potential NWA World Tag Team title shot. I felt like they really needed a win here during the Crockett Cup, and they did not get that. So I'll go with you first, DK. What did you think of this match?
Well, first I want to talk about that clip that you showed.
Okay.
Because Casey, is that the younger one?
Yes.
Okay, he did something I absolutely hate. He threw a clothesline, but he threw it up so that the guy could duck it. And he threw it so far up, I wasn't sure what he was actually trying to hit with it. It was just horrible, 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 horrible. Don't do that crap, anybody out there wrestling. Throw a clothesline where you're supposed to throw a clothesline. If the other guy doesn't duck enough, I guess he'll get hit in the head.
He'll learn one way.
Yeah. It's kind of like I told my boss the other day. I was rotating some stock, and she was training a new manager. And she goes, see what Devin did there? She goes, make sure everyone does that. Rotate stock. She goes, because not everyone does. I go, they should be beaten. She goes, we don't beat people at this store. I go, well, maybe if you did, they'd rotate the stock. So anyway, that being neither here nor there. On to the match. I'm not the biggest Country Gentleman fan, but I am a AJ Kazana fan. I don't like the Joe Kazana Kentucky Fried Colonel routine. Casey is still he needs to firm up. He needs to get in better shape. And especially when you're in the ring with Mondo, who, man, where would that guy's career been if he'd been 6 inches taller? And
probably so in the shitter because WWE booking sucked then.
That's true.
Not shit, but you know what I mean.
Yeah. But, him and Slade, boy, talk about the tag team I never knew I wanted.
Yep.
I wasn't even sure when I remember you and Jaden telling me about them teaming, and I was like, really? And I wasn't sure what to think of it. But man, even when they came out, they looked like a tag team.
Yep.
They worked like a tag team. And God, they're both built like, brick houses, brick walls, whatever the right term is. And it's just like, I like this.
I believe the term is shit brick house.
It's brick shit house. But go ahead.
All right. Well,
Why'd you mute DK?
I didn't.
Oh, did DK mute DK? Because he might still be talking on DK.
No, it was an accident.
Okay.
I hit a key on my keyboard. I don't know which one, but apparently it works as the mute. But going on, just so I thought the match was good, except for that one thing I just saw there with Jay. But I enjoyed it, and it was better than the first one
for sure,
and everything. So yeah, I mean, looking at it is like, oh man, they need to put the U.S. tag titles on these guys. Screw the Southern Six. Give me Mondo and Slade. Put those U.S. tag belts on them. Send them to the territories. Let them beat the crap out of some teams for a while.
I think that would be a lot of fun. Rick, what was your take on this one?
I really like the Country Gentleman. This version, like I said, Casey, like you said, he just takes a lot of getting used to. Still young, I guess, hasn't been doing it as long as this AJ. I think AJ is a really, really great wrestler, really great as part of like the NWA, and I think that he could really bring something to the brand. Him teaming up here against Mondo and what the hell was the other? Oh, Slade. I really like the pairing. I thought that, I'm not too familiar with Mondo other than a few matches that I've seen here in the NWA. I've heard the name before. But I thought that like one of you guys compared them to the Steiners. I think that's a really great comparison, both with amateur backgrounds. I think that, Mondo, he did a lot of great actual wrestling in this matchup that really looked good, I thought. This was one of my favorite matches of the week, I'd have to say. So
yeah, really enjoyed it.
It was a fun match. It was a great wrestling match. That's what the NWA is starting to bring that part back without the ridiculousness that they've been doing for a number of years now. And this is definitely proof of that.
Jaden, what was your take on this one?
I really enjoyed this match. I know you guys compare them to the Steiners, and I guess it's technically true, but they remind me of Russ and Charlie Haas, the Haas brothers.
Okay.
That I really like that a lot. And I was a big Haas brothers fan. Loved them. They were really awesome around this area. They wrestled a lot in this area.
They worked in this area a lot, like the Northeast a lot with the earlier 2000s.
They were one of my absolute favorite tag teams of that era. And, it's a shame what happened to Russ. I think that, unfortunately, luckily we got Shelton Benjamin and Charlie Haas, but I think if they would have been the three of them, I think that could have even been a really big deal. But I really like the pairing of Shelton Benjamin, of Nick Mondo and Slade. Yeah, I've been a proponent of Slade, and I'm glad you guys are finally seeing it. I've been a proponent of Mondo, and I'm glad you guys are seeing it. And I think I remember when we were talking about them as a tag team for this, I was looking very forward to that tag team because they had complementary skill sets. I'm a big AJ Cassana fan. I think he should be a single wrestler. I also think that this is proof that there's not really any seeding in the NWA because these two shouldn't have been against each other in the first round. There definitely should have been a second round match because I think it could have meant more with their former U.S. tag team champions, maybe beating Frank and Zyon and maybe the Slade and Mondo defeating Daisy Kill and really seeing how good they are if they can make Talos look interesting.
Yeah.
I think that would have been more logical. And then they could have, especially when they're, do the thing they did with Daisy Kill and Talos. I think then have this a second round match where the match can mean more. I think because I do think the Southern Gentlemen were wasted being eliminated so early.
I agree.
So yeah, that's what I personally believe. But I really just enjoyed this match. I really liked it a lot. I like AJ. Casey's not as better than I think and again, this may be Mondo and Slade. I thought he was better in this match than I've seen him ever. He just looked really good comparatively on this match, and he's never been horrible. You can tell he just needs more actual work against people that he doesn't know, so he can grow and get better, and more work outside of Chokazana promotions, so he can grow and get better. But I think I still love this match. Was my favorite match so far of the NWA. So out of the two nights, out of the two, I guess, episodes, and I hope they put some belts on Slade and Mondo.
And Rick, we got your take, right?
Yes.
Okay, that's I thought, but I didn't want to jump ahead and leave you out in the cold.
You don't want to get yelled at, huh? Like last time by DK.
Oh man, DK was pissed. And I think it was more than just the that I forgot. But anyways, the next segment leads us to the main event.
Right.
This was a no disqualification women's match, hardcore wrestling at the ECW arena. Very fitting. And we've learned this about Markova, is that this woman can take a beating and keep on kicking, I guess. And this match was really, really brutal. If you guys are following our channel on YouTube, tomorrow morning I'll have the clip from my angle of her basically killing, unaliving Hunter as he was put through a table. And on TV, it looks a heck of a lot worse than it did in the arena. But I have a few clips, so can I play them for you guys?
Yes.
The dueling keyboards. Control Alt Delete.
Who said that?
Some funny guy in the crowd, man. But have anyone in the chat ever been hit by a keyboard before?
Chat? I've been. Does that count?
Yeah.
I have.
Okay.
Never.
You know, back in the early 2000s when there was the whole backyard wrestling craze, we did that for a few weeks, but not in the backyard, in my brother's living room. And at one point, we did a hardcore match with a keyboard that was broken, obviously. And my buddy wound up and hit me as hard as he could over the head. And I remember thinking, it's a plastic keyboard. It's not going to hurt. And it didn't hurt, but it stunned me so much that I could see the spacebar just orbiting off the keyboard itself onto the ground. And everything was in slow motion for a few seconds. I might have had a concussion. That to say, like, that shot right there, although I'm sure both were very prepared to take that, looked brutal. I have one more clip, and this is when Hunter enters the match. And here you go. Hunter was late for the save.
I was going to say, when I watched it, I thought she didn't kick out. And now seeing it from that angle, it's like, oh, he effed up.
Yeah, pretty significantly. And maybe that's why he got unalived on that other situation. But I felt like, again, this was a pretty good match for the venue. I think it was perfect. The part that was a little confusing to me is that Markova became number one contender at Hard Times. She didn't need to be in a hardcore match with Kylie to kind of get weakened up or roughed up before the 77th anniversary show. And obviously, you know, because of the dates and lineup of the calendar, like that would have played a role into it anyways. But I just felt like, I don't know if this match was necessary. And that's not to say it wasn't a good match. And they did have a storyline behind it, but I just felt like we've seen them wrestle enough. Do we need this matchup? So I'll ask you, Jaden. You were there live. What did you think of the match? Did we need this match?
I liked it less watching it now than I did then, and I wasn't that big of a fan the first time.
Okay.
It did not need to be needed. It was a garbage match. It wasn't even like an ECW match. People think that a bunch of stupid things like that makes an ECW match. I was there in the ECW's days, and they, except for New Jack, there wasn't a lot of that bullshit. It was unnecessary. It was not good. I hated it. I thought it brought down the quality of the two wrestlers. Kylie Paige, right?
Yes.
That's the page, because I always get that mixed up. She's better than that match needed to be. Markova, which I wasn't originally a fan with, but then became a fan. She's better than that needed to be. It should have been a wrestling match, or if at least it was going to be a fight, it needed to be a fight. It didn't need to be a bunch of no talent. This, to me, it demeaned both wrestlers' abilities, because it was one of those things we put two wrestlers who don't know what the hell they're doing, and you give them that stupid stuff just to cover the fact that because they're already brain dead and don't belong in wrestling, maybe they can get a permanent concussion and be taken out. That's all this did to me is weaken these women wrestlers and didn't need to be done. I hated it. It was stupid. I don't think it was that good. The quality wasn't that good. I've seen them both wrestle way better than that match. And I also, now that I got to see Kylie's look up front, I don't get the whole love for her. She's not unattractive, but I don't see the whole, like, she's the most gorgeous thing. Honestly, their shorts were the best thing about her in that. But the rest of them.
Wait, you look at her face?
Well, there was a lot of close-ups.
Oh, wow. You guys.
But yeah, that was just, honestly, that was detrimental, I believe, to both ladies. It didn't need to be done. The commentary was the really worst, I think, of the whole thing. I think that Control at the Elite comment was the only funny thing about the whole match.
This might be the last time we were on X. What did you think about the match, Jaden? I mean,
I'm not traded, so it's okay.
What did you think of the match, DK?
Okay, it was a garbage match, and we know my feelings towards garbage matches. And here's the thing about it. I don't like garbage matches. I'm not necessarily against more brutal matches. The problem is, in today's day and age, they're all the same. Let's get stuff. Let's hit each other. Let's make it look, ridiculous, phony, fake, or whatever. Look, I remember Texas death matches, here in Texas. We had a few, or country whooping matches or whatever, where the guys dressed in street clothes, had their fists taped up, beat the snot out of each other.
Were there knee pads over their jeans?
Right. That was always interesting. They busted each other up and everybody bled and, stuff like that. But it looked like a fight.
Yeah.
I mean, when they say street fight, it looked like a street fight. So I'll take a shot at WWE here. I didn't watch the whole match, from beginning to end without interruption. I had it on in the background of SummerSlam, and there was nothing just overly spectacular to me about Cody versus Cena. It did not help the fact that there was only one match on that entire night that wasn't no DQ. And it's, if there's ever a way to make a street fight seem meaningless, have a night of matches where there's no DQs, and you'll do it. So I will give them credit in this. Markova and Kylie have faced each other multiple times, and so they did save the street fight or whatever this one was billed as till the end for the blow off. That at least made sense. But the match itself was garbage. And I remember that every time I see Hunter, I just get sad. Hunter never fails to make me sad. And, I couldn't even enjoy Markova putting him through the table because he's out there and he's smaller than Markova. And, your eyes just start to tear up because you're so sad. So that's my thought.
And Rick, your thoughts, please.
I'm not really a gigantic fan of hardcore wrestling. On occasion, sure, why not? I grew up, I would watch ECW and all those, like the two gentlemen said, the Texas Death Matches and stuff like that. This was just okay. Okay, this was an okay matchup. I would have preferred a good old-fashioned traditional wrestling match as part of this story. I don't see how sometimes they have to do such things, and then sometimes things are overly done and overly fake looking, and that the NWA is kind of does that version of that sometimes, and this is a perfect example of it, I guess. Like DK, that Hunter fella, there's no use for him, and he's just kind of annoying to see on the television. Like Billy, stay off TV. Go work in creative or do your job as president, Billy. Or Hunter, just stay in the back in catering.
He could use the catering. He definitely could use the catering.
It really did nothing for me. It was an okay match. I really do. I've grown to like Markova, who in the beginning for a long time I really couldn't tolerate, but over time has shown her wrestling ability. Same thing with which Paige sister is this again? Kylie. Okay, thank you. I don't know. I get the two confused. But those two women.
Okay, here I'll help you remember them. Sure. All right. Kenzie has the pretty face.
Okay.
Kylie, we don't know about her face because we're looking at other assets.
Gotcha. Okay. So either way, it was just an okay segment of the show. Should have been billed as the main event. I would have rather have seen this swapped with the tag match with Slade and Mondo and the Country Gentlemen as the main event, because it just seemed more fitting and more of a serious matchup.
This again was where pacing of the TV taping I think hurt too. When they record these matches like it's a house show, but they don't edit it to make it look like it's a good television taping. Right. And also, I think the problem I have with this exact match is, and I know I've complained about this before, but if you ever watch how Hollywood TV shows and sitcoms especially do pro wrestling, how they think pro wrestling is and how they think it looks like and how the fans act, how they think the fans act, but it's not reality. And that's kind of sometimes how I had similar issue with Championship Wrestling for Hollywood, because it felt like they did that too, back especially early in Championship Wrestling for Hollywood days. That's, to me, this is what somebody who doesn't actually watch ECW wrestling thinks ECW wrestling is, or didn't really grow up in the area, didn't really understand what ECW was. That's right. What they think ECW was, and it wasn't. And that's not at all what it was. It was a garbage match that should have been, it could have been a street fight, and I would have been happy, like a real street fight. But this was just people playing with toys and beating the crap out of each other, and no talent necessary. Jay?
Yeah, I mean, and I think you alluded to it before we got on the air today, or maybe we said early on, but they had an opportunity to show two matches from this entire Crockett Cup that I think would have hooked fans instantly. And the first one, especially considering you've seen her now wrestle in TNA wrestling, you've seen her wrestle in NXT, now she's going to AAA. She's done Josh Barnett's Bloodsport. Natty Neidhart, I really feel like it's a hot commodity right now. She's working all kinds of places, and this would have been the right time to have a Natty Neidhart match on your Power. Like, it should have started off with that match as the main event for the first episode. They blew it. The second episode, again, you've got gold. You've got literal gold, and you're not showing it to your audience. And I know it's been a few months, but there's a lot of people out there who would still be excited to see that match. And they're still gun shy about showing it. It's like the value it's losing value every day that it doesn't air on TV. And Natty Neidhart, again, is doing everything she can to make herself a bigger star in the WWE, which means she's going to Mexico. She's going to the independents, and she's working these shows. This is the time to strike while the iron is hot. They should have had this match be the main event this week.
No, it should have been last week. It should have been last week that match was. Then they could have done maybe Latimer and Rhino and Colby to capitalize on Rhino's star power. And, the NWA World Heavyweight Championship would still mean something. Yep. And then maybe the next week they could have put Hammerstone and Thrillbilly in there because Hammerstone has some value. They should really have changed it around to maximize as much as possible to really make everything important. So by the time they finish these TV tapings, they've got fans. Because again, this was the best NWA I've seen live since the Lightning One era, and there's only been two, but unless you count pay-per-views. But it's also it was a very it could have been used to elevate the NWA, and it was just poor planning from left and right, in my opinion.
You know what I feel like, and maybe when they were originally doing this, when this was filmed, were they already talking Roku? I don't know.
Well, they didn't make that public to us.
Okay. Well, but they may have been the bear. Here's my thought. Roku, I've talked about the 77 being like a reboot.
Yeah.
Roku could have set up the reboot of the 77, but what you need to do is when the two ladies I have wrestling for the IHWE title, they both sent in videos. Go to YouTube and check it out. But one of the things I told them, I go, introduce yourself. Don't assume people know who you are.
Yes.
I go, introduce yourself. Let people know who you are. They should be introducing their champions, their stars. And what they really should be doing is building next week's episode this week.
Yes.
Agreed.
Yes.
Well, we're talking about interviews. Why did we not have an interview last week with Kylie and Markova? Why this week didn't we have an interview with somebody that, whatever the main event next week is?
Yeah.
Why aren't you building and saying, we are the NWA, we're open to a new audience here. Let us tell you who we are again. Let us reintroduce ourselves.
Right.
That's even what Victoria said in her video. For those of you who don't know who I am, let me introduce myself. The Mistress of Metal. And we had the bombshell, Haley Danielle. Don't mispronounce her name, by the way. Apparently she's touchy about that. Danielle, not Daniel. And that's what the NWA should be doing here. I mean, I think Jaden and I have had this conversation before. When you're doing videos and you're doing something, tell me who you are. Tell me why I should be watching this next thing. And they're not doing that here. So, sometimes they watch the show and sometimes they listen to us. So that's my piece of advice for this next thing after getting rid of the skits is make next week's episode interesting. Introduce what's going to be there. Introduce your champions. Don't overclose them like you did Aldis.
Sure.
But, on your very first episode, Tom Latimer should have had more.
Yes.
Well, and then one of those things too that you're just talking about, they're doing a lot of, hey, this is what happened last week, but maybe to your point, maybe they need to say, hey, this is what's going to happen this week, and or this is what's going to happen next week to kind of get the audience prepared for what they're going to see the following week. So I agree with you, DK.
In the early days of Power, when Pope was TV champion, what they do, they would have a match this week to figure out who Pope's challenger next week was going to be.
Yeah.
They need stuff like that.
It's called a hook.
Yes, that I was just getting ready to say. Hook me in. Make me want to see what next week's about.
There should be 2 hooks in the NWA. One hook is the hook to fans for next week, and the other one's to get Billy Corgan off commentary. The big old hook, just yank his ass away.
Yes, that was proven in this match yet again.
Yes, and that's another thing why I hate it. Grief. So testify, Rick Del Santo. Preach it.
I'm gonna tell you, he had a line in there. I should have written it down, but that just annoyed me to no end when the 2 women were wrestling on the outside, and I just literally just wanted to scream because it was so annoying. I wish I could remember what it was. But this dude is, I don't even know, like the worst. I'm telling you.
Was it the line about how he doesn't like matches like this, or he'd rather not do this type of thing, but he didn't know what to do?
But then he booked it, so it's contradictory.
He does that about his matches all the time. Billy does not know why Billy books the way he the most confused person by Billy's booking is Billy.
I'm sure he doesn't know why he wakes up in the morning. I mean, puts cream in his coffee, whatever. Like, I mean, this dude is just bonkers, and just be the businessman, be the dude behind the scenes. That's all he needs to be. He people know who you are. You don't need to be on NWA TV each and every week. Go play your guitar in a stadium somewhere. Like, it's just like, just stay a rock star, be the owner of the company. Stop being. He puts himself out there as part of, like, he's got to be part of the commercials that they create. He's got to be doing this, doing that. It's just nobody cares to see you. We're tuning in for something else. We don't need to know that you don't need to be a part of this show. Basically, that's it.
Look, nobody loves Billy Corgan more than Billy Corgan. Now, Matt poses a question that I think we'll all find difficult to answer, but I'll post it anyways.
Yes, definitely. The answer to the question was DK did say Roku.
Yeah. No, Skits or William Patrick Corgan. If you could only take one off the broadcast, which one is it?
I just won't tune in. Man, that's
Skits can be good. Billy Corgan can't. So I guess that's my answer.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, I'm going to take the Skits. I'm sorry. But Billy, and no matter how many times I tweet him to stop with the commentary, he doesn't listen.
It's interesting. I had this conversation with a young man who wanted to talk pro wrestling with me so bad. We spoke for about 30 minutes, and he kept telling me everything that Billy Corgan should do. And I said, look, man, I get it, right? Because I don't think there's anyone more critical of me and my guys when it comes to Billy Corgan. When we do the Alliance Guys podcast, we love the NWA, but we're not necessarily, what's
Corgan fans. Corgan fans. We've been watching the NWA forever. I mean,
100%. And the thing is I could take the two and separate them. Like, I could take my love for the NWA, and I could still say, but this show was not good. This episode was, but I could say, like, look, this was not good. It's not all like rainbows and happy faces.
That's the same thing with anything that you watch in professional wrestling. That's the same thing when I was a huge Walking Dead fan. I'd watch it like, Jesus Christ, this episode sucked. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
I could do that with Monday Night Raw or the pay-per-views. I said that about SummerSlam. Okay? I was sorely disappointed. In 2 days of SummerSlam, I saw one match that I enjoyed out of the entire weekend. So,
which one?
Punk and Gunther. And then it got...
Okay, I wanted to make sure you were the right one.
Yeah. And then it got soured by the cash-in because I hate cash-ins. It's stupid. They want to do these stupid shock TV moments and all this other crap for TikTok views and YouTube shorts. I hate it. the two should have just wrestled. The whole Money in the Bank cash-in thing should just go away. But I get it. It's over. People are buying.
Supposedly Hunter's not a fan.
What's that?
Supposedly Hunter's not a fan.
Then why
he's the guy that can take care of it.
He can.
Well,
he can.
Well, like most things in life, it's never as easy as you think.
Sure.
But
it's just so embedded in the WWE, like, whatever, like, for
culture.
Now. Yeah, culture that it has to be there or the fans are going to cry about it. Like, that's
well, you'll notice that both briefcases were cashed in relatively quickly.
Yeah. We didn't have to wait a whole year. Yeah.
Yeah. And so, both of them were cashed in relatively quickly. And so apparently that's one of the signs that it's like he doesn't like it. He kind of feels like he has to keep it for now. But it would not surprise me if it does not fade out at some point.
That's a lot that's happening in WWE, surprisingly, and going to happen within the WWE in the next couple of years, I believe, including Hunter. That's just what I'm saying.
Well, let's since we're
I got a scoop. So from inside source, but sorry, but
no, tell us more.
Well, I heard somebody that I know worked with Cena, Cena's father, recently, and he said that Cena and because Cena Senior, obviously, I think Jaden probably. Are you familiar with him at all, Jaden?
I never met him, but I know enough of him. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, he works in Connecticut and Massachusetts quite often. So, I know I was at a show recently, a friend of mine had a conversation, and he kind of revealed that, Hunter and The Rock do not get along whatsoever. He's kind of saying that he was kind of speculating that Hunter's probably going to be gone within the next 18 months. Which I don't 100% agree with, but it is interesting looking into like what the formula has gone since Rock came back. That's just an opinion. I don't know how true it is. I can't say. I'm just hearing. I know what the source is, and I think it's kind of a valuable source in my personal opinion.
Yeah. Matt not happy about that because the Money in the Bank's coming to New Orleans, his backyard. So, we'll see, right? We'll see. But since we're already talking about the WWE, let's break down the levy and talk about what the hot news with the WWE this week was. And oddly enough, it wasn't so much about the title changes at SummerSlam or that nasty promo that Becky cut on Nikki Bella, but it was about the agreement that happened, at least it was announced on Tuesday morning through ESPN and its partners that Disney, ESPN have now essentially purchased the rights for WWE Premier Live events in 2026, thus removing them off of the Peacock network, and would be part of a greater streaming platform with ESPN, which would also include the NFL Network and select NBA games. And this is kind of big news because, one, the WWE just made another $1 billion and some change by licensing yet another cog of its content division. They've got a deal with Netflix that internationally is the home of the WWE. Nationally, it's the home of Monday Night Raw and, of course, the other programming that they have developed, like Unreal and properties like that. We also know that WWE has licensed the TV rights for NXT to the CW, and I also believe it's on the CW app. Yep. You've got the Let's Go, the Future Legends show on A&E, along with some WWE themed programming, like I forgot what the show's called, but it's about finding like the treasures of the WWE merchandise and stuff like that. Then they have Tubi, where they're showing Evolve. And then you have, of course, USA still airs SmackDown. Peacock has the rights to the NXT PLEs, I guess, going forward. And then NBC still has Saturday night's Main Event. So now that WWE has this strategy where its programming is diversified across all media formats, they have their vaults, their library still on YouTube, where you can go watch WCW matches and ECW matches. The context of the library is still basically on Peacock, but that could change in 2026. And as of right now, ESPN will host all pay-per-views going forward, with some direct pay-per-views being made to the lineal ESPN channel, which in my opinion probably means the core four of WrestleMania, Survivor Series, SummerSlam, where they'll take those opportunities to sell buku advertising dollars so ESPN can make their money back on this deal. A lot of outrage about this deal initially when it was first being reported, because it made it sound like people were going to have to spend $30 a month on WWE pay-per-views, but that wasn't the case.
No.
So Jaden, I know that you have a handle on it. Let's hear what does the deal entail?
All right. First of all, if you already have ESPN, you will have the ability to watch these pay-per-views for free. So if you have cable, traditional cable, and you have ESPN as part of your package, we'll just say Comcast or Spectrum or whatever, you'll be able to watch the pay-per-views.
So they're going to air it right there on ESPN, is what you're saying? Like the regular ESPN?
Not necessarily. Okay. So the ESPN On Demand feature, this app that you would have to pay $29.99 for, is going to be free as part of your ESPN package.
Okay, so if I have cable, I could sign up. From what I understand, because I was reading Mike Johnson, PW Insider, kind of put out a clarification article. And so you basically have to, if you have that app, you sign in with your cable credentials, is what it is. And you'll be able to basically watch that. And is that app available, say, on your Roku or your, what's the other thing called? Like,
Fire Stick.
Yeah, stuff like that. But they also, some of the cable boxes have particular apps where you're able to watch particular things, or is it just I'm able to watch it on my cable just by going to this whatever particular ESPN, basically?
How it was explained to me is if you want to watch it streaming through your phone, through your tablet, through whatever that you sign into your cable bill, you'll be able to do it through streaming. Then I also have been told that it will be on demand. If you have the ability for your cable company to do on-demand services, you'll be able to watch it on demand through your cable company service too. Also, if you happen to any reason have, say, the ESPN feature on Hulu or Apple TV or the other way you're paying for ESPN through that.
I have ESPN Plus on my Disney, Disney
different.
Plus. So that is different. Okay, that is where I was kind of confused if that was included there. Okay.
The ESPN Plus is stuff that they're not broadcasting necessarily on ESPN because of limited amount of television time. So that's what the Plus is for ESPN. This ESPN app is going to be basically things they are promoting on ESPN and other things that are part of the ESPN property. Not necessarily extra content. Like, see, the ESPN Plus is great for the NHL. Even if it's really hard to watch and you can't turn away from the screen to listen to it, and the commentary on the NHL has been very bad recently on ESPN. I much rather prefer other ways to listen to my hockey on ESPN than the ESPN app. ESPN Plus. But you can watch out of market station channel games and other games that they're broadcasting that necessarily not necessarily playing on ESPN. So that's what the Plus is for, plus other programming. This is what mostly got a lot of the main programming is where the ESPN, so you can watch live TV on this, or you could watch stuff that they are recording specifically for this app itself. But the ESPN Plus is not the same. But you could pay for ESPN on multiple different things, so you could watch live ESPN without having cable. So if you do that, say you're an NBA fan, you want to watch the NBA games, or other things that they're going to be doing. Even the rumors are they're even looking to do maybe something with UFC as part of this too. So you're not just only getting the WWE. You're getting the sports that the ESPN is putting out there and the ability to watch it live. That's where the ability that is coming in handy. So if you're already doing that, then you're not have to pay any extra. If you want to watch whatever you do, you want to pay for ESPN for, including now allegedly the NFL Network is going to be merging into it too. You can do that and just also get WWE. Yes, it is more money, but you're also paying for premium sports. Sports is always more expensive than, say, live television or sitcoms or whatever they put on streaming nowadays. Like I like Star Trek, so it's always more expensive to do live sports, and they're going to pay more for those rights to do live sports because live sports bring way more viewers than a lot of these TV shows do, with few exceptions. By the way, I heard there's a quote unquote sequel to The Office coming out called The Paper, and it doesn't look good. But that's what it is. So if you already have that ability, and if you do want to pay for it, you other things do interest you that ESPN is putting out there, then the WWE is just part of that overall package. So either you already have it through those apps if you're paying for ESPN, you already have it through yeah, exactly. And you already have it for cable. It's already part of your cable package. Then you have it. And if you would like to buy anything as part of the ESPN linear networks, like the ones listed on the screen now by James X. Jackson, you can do so. And the WWE is part of the benefits of that package.
Okay.
Yeah, it doesn't do me any good.
I guess I'll figure it out when we when it's time.
Yeah, and look, the thing is, you know, and I mentioned this to DK and Jaden offline a few days ago, but isn't it kind of ironic or crazy or cerebral even that the WWE signed that deal with Peacock and taking away the pay-per-view format, right? That they used to sell they would charge for pay-per-views, and we'd pay $50 a month for pay-per-views, and then they convinced us all that pay-per-views were worth $10 a month because you get the WWE Network, and you pay $10 a month for your pay-per-views, and then that transferred with Peacock when they signed that big money deal with Peacock, and now essentially you're still not paying for the WWE premium live events. You're paying for the ESPN package. Now that doesn't, again, if you're a WWE fan and don't care about the other sports, that would be again just an added bonus. If you do like sports, Jaden's a big hockey fan, and if you're enjoy football or whatever sport it is, and ESPN gives it good coverage, then maybe this makes sense for you. But like an average Joe like me, baseball, they don't play out of market games when you have the MLB network, and ESPN doesn't show enough baseball for my liking. So this is not advantageous for somebody like me. However, still paying $30 a month for ESPN and its properties is still cheaper than paying $60 a month for pay-per-views. You guys disagree?
No, I agree. It's just how many people are going to take that dive. Our wrestling fans aren't typically sports fans, and sports fans aren't typically WWE fans either, or professional wrestling fans, really. I don't
agree, but go ahead.
Well, I mean, you could disagree, but it's not. I mean, I think the numbers are very low, honestly, because they watch WWE. It's just I find it interesting. I don't want to pay $30 a month. I don't think I'm going to pay $30 a month. I mean, unless I'm getting tons of baseball, like which I have a hard enough time keeping up with games as it is watching baseball. Yep. Between work and working on the podcasts, multiple podcasts throughout the week, I don't have a lot of chance. You know what I mean? I read about baseball more than I actually watch as at my old age. So, I don't know. I don't know if I'll take the dive. I may. I'm just kind of curious as to who it's. What is it? It's 2 times more than what they're paying now. As far as it's $30 a month as opposed to $10 a month. However, where I am, the $5 tier of Peacock is actually included in my cable package. It's free. The $5 tier is free with Comcast since its inception.
See, I don't agree with you, Soto, because you know why? We can't get people to do VPNs for their own safety, let alone for going out on the high seas to get their pay-per-view content.
Yeah.
Second, people at the New Jersey just spent an absolute fortune to spend 2 nights, even one of 2 nights, at a WWE SummerSlam. They came in, they flew in from far away, came like a mini vacation for them. They spent so much money, spent so much in merchandising, spent so much in tickets. Hell, the parking of that venue was more than $30 a month. And so right then and there, people they're spending money on the WWE. Eventually, maybe that will run out, but as long as the product's the way it is and it's popular like it is right now, people are going to spend the money because there's a niche amount of audience that's going to do it. This isn't meant to be for the guys who go, oh, I paid $10. No, it's not meant for that. Because again, if you have cable, Rick, right? You have the package. You can still watch it.
Yeah. I mean, I do have ESPN, I think. I mean, yeah, I have the regular. I know I got ESPN and whatever, the regular ESPN. I'm sure I have all the other crap too. I just never use it. So
the Ocho.
Well, see, here's my deal. Is I don't have cable. I don't have any type of thing. I'm not going to get it for $90 to $100 a month,
right?
For the cheapest thing. Just so I can have ESPN, just so I can have a thing. I love football. I love different sports. I love different things. I'm not paying $30 a month for it. I'm just not. I
have cable. I actually just stream everything. My wife is probably the only one that actually watches actual cable in this house. I
probably spend more time on YouTube than anywhere else.
Yeah, exactly. YouTube and Jesus Christ, and yeah, YouTube and probably Roku or like the Roku channel now because the NWA's there, and sometimes Netflix.
I do very little on Netflix. In fact, the only reason I have an account is because we split the cost.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the way we split the cost is I have Netflix and like another family member has Max.
Exactly. Like that's what we do. I mean, actually, that's a good point because let me throw Max in there because I get that. My brother-in-law has that. So we swap that between our Netflix, and we shouldn't probably be revealing this on the podcast. But, it's like I started using Max recently because there's a lot of great content up there, like movies and stuff like that, to sit down and watch. They got like everything up there. I watch Tubi all the time because there's a lot of great hidden gems back from, the 80s and stuff like that you probably will remember. So, stuff like that. And I watch the Evolve series each and every week. So
I have Max. I've never once watched any AEW content. No. I have Netflix. I've yet to watch. I think I watched the first few minutes of the first episode of Raw on Netflix and got bored of it and shut it off. I have my brother has Max, and I said Max. I have whatever the Paramount station is. I think it's Paramount Plus.
Yes.
I have that, and I watch a Ghost, and I watch I watch Star Wars Strange New Worlds and Star Trek Strange New Worlds. And I tried to watch Billy and Mandy and couldn't get into it. And that's it. The rest of my family, and I'll watch. You know what? I watch Deep Space Nine all the time.
Yeah, I got Disney Plus with the Hulu, with the Hulu option,
and ESPN.
And it has the ESPN option too.
Right. That's what I have. If they move to something like that, then maybe I'd get it as part of that package. But I'm not paying $30 or $100 or any amount of money to watch WWE premium.
WWE, no,
WWE.
Because I mean, obviously, I think the SummerSlam this past weekend actually proved as to how much I will not pay for it because it made me literally numb watching the entire show. When Punk and Gunther came out, I said, okay, this better be this better not be a terrible match. But I haven't seen anything bad from either of those guys, really. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, but even like Sami Zayn and Karrion Kross, I thought was going to be phenomenal, mediocre. Jacob Fatu and Solo Sikoa, steel cage match. This is going to be awesome. Nope, dud. Complete freaking dud.
Short and bad.
Yes. No blood in a cage match. How does that even happen?
With the wrong outcome, too.
Yeah.
Gunther got color on the commentating table.
That is, yes, exactly. And I thought that when he popped up and all of a sudden his face was red, I was like, oh, this is awesome. So I got excited. I don't care what.
Except for the fact that it was fake.
Oh, boy.
Was it?
Yeah.
Or was it a blade?
They said it was fake.
Oh, whatever. I just saying though, all that stuff I have has wrestling on, and I don't watch any of it. If anything catches my eye for the YouTube on WWE, I watch the YouTube little highlights of it. That's the most excitement I have for WWE. I really just don't watch any wrestling, and I have all these stations that have wrestling on it. Because the wrestling that's out there isn't wrestling that interests me.
I watch mostly archival footage.
Mm-hmm.
Old territory stuff. I watch old black and white. The Savoldi network that they got, the Ultimate Classic Wrestling streaming service. Now, of course, I'm not going to sound like an advertisement. It's $6.99 a month. It's going to be way better than them going over to ESPN for $30 a month. It's the greatest deal if you're like watching all that old Savoldi territory stuff, as well as all the stuff that they own, that they have the rights to, which is a ton of stuff. And you can catch old interviews that I did on the network as well. So it's a cheap plug as well. But seriously, dude, it's like I'd rather watch older footage than sit there and watch something like SummerSlam and be miserable for 4 hours a day, 2 days in a row.
On the Dog YouTube channel, it's free. It's less than $6.99 a month, way less than $39.99 a month, and you can watch some really good professional wrestling and Double Dave Dahl
events.
I do watch. I do watch a lot of Dog on YouTube. I watch that, and I watch a couple of local promotions.
Yes,
and that's about it.
Yeah.
So we're running low on time because we're approaching that 2 hour mark. So we're gonna get ready to wrap it up. But I think from what I'm hearing, a lot of people are considering going the VPN route. There's a lot of people who are like, well, we'll just jump on the Discord and share videos that way. And there's a lot of ways around it. Those who want it will find a way to watch it. Period. And if the price tag's too high, then they'll find a way around the price tag. Real
quick, if you're a professional wrestler and you're talking about pirating, that's a good way to never get anything in professional wrestling. And how would you like it if somebody pirated your stuff so then you didn't make any money doing it? Not that you guys make any money anyway, because most of you are the drizzling shits and don't deserve to be in the business, but that's my own little thing out there. How would you like it if somebody, instead of you making the money off your t-shirt, somebody sold the same t-shirt for $5 and you didn't get a penny of it?
Yeah, no,
and that's pretty much the way it's working with me now.
Damn. So we're gonna get out of here, but I did want to give Jay an opportunity to plug his upcoming event and
give it to DK. Play those highlights, those promos for him that he posted in the chat.
I may not have time, but we'll keep them for next week.
We'll get them out there because there's really not much. It's the same stuff I've been promoting already, and you guys can't come to the Rowan one anyway, so there's nothing new news on it.
All right, then. Well, then, Rick, you have anything to plug?
Sort of, yes. Tomorrow I will be speaking with the legendary Scott McGee, who spent some time in WWE, the Pacific Northwest, and other territories, and I'm looking forward to that. I should have said the WWF in the early 80s, not to the WWE. I will be speaking to Richard Sartain, who was one of the Ding Dongs and worked in Deep South Wrestling as well, and I'll be talking to Mickey Knuckles next week.
Oh, wow.
Just got her booking today, and next week, I believe it's Tuesday that we're booked for. And I'm working on a big surprise. So
there's two interviews I watched, but Mickey Knuckles definitely don't give a crap about.
Well, she's a nice lady. So
no, she wasn't. She was. She tried to scam people because her and Jesse Bell. So screw them both with somebody else's penis.
All right. So tune into the Pro Wrestling Wire for that, or don't. You're entirely up to you.
But definitely listen to Rick's stuff. Just tell Mickey Knuckles to see the.
Yeah, let's. Rick's stuff has a lot of great content. Make sure you check out Pro Wrestling Wire. I was actually even on one of those episodes
last week. We recorded, and always talking to Jay is a fun time. Go check that out. And go check out. It's the Rick Del Santo. They're on YouTube.
Do you know another Jay?
No, he's the only Jay I know. The only other Jay I know is missing. So,
Is that legit? Is he really missing?
No. I just lost contact with him after he stopped working with me. So
I'm sorry. I heard a rumor that I heard a rumor that Jey Uso was missing, and I'm like, is this a legit thing? I thought it was just a rumor, just a gag, but
no.
Then you said, I was like, oh crap, is that real?
I highly doubt he's missing. I'm sure they'll find him.
I'm
just missing spots.
Oh my god! All right, well that's gonna. Oh shit!
Enjoy your week, everybody. We'll see you next Thursday.
Yeah.
And for Vinny Vegas, he says good night, and we'll see you at the match. Thanks for joining the stream. This has been a presentation of Alliance-Wrestling.com. We genuinely appreciate your support. Would you consider subscribing so you'll never miss a future episode? I'd also like to remind you we do a live stream every Tuesday at 5 p.m. before NWA Power. You can find us on social media at The Alliance Blog. And until next time, we are The Alliance.